So we're at OFC 2016 in Anaheim, California. I'm here with Manish Mehta from Source Photonics. So Manish, just tell us a little bit about Source Photonics and what the business is all about.
Sure. So first of all, thanks for taking the time to speak to us. Source Photonics is a vertically integrated designer and manufacturer of optical transceivers. We service primarily four markets: data center, wireless front haul, fiber to the home, and client-side optical transmission.
Okay. So I understand recently you had a pretty fair amount of success. Data center, 100 gig modules, QSFP28. Just tell us a little bit about that and how you ramped up to that.
Sure. Yeah, in January we publicly announced that we had shipped 10,000 QSFP28 single mode modules.
Okay.
So the industry has been talking for some time about 100 gig ramp up and migration from 10 and 40 gig to 100 gig in the cloud scale and mega data centers. But it's taken some time for the components to evolve to the point that they can go to production. Well, Source actually went to production about a year ago, in March of 2015.
Okay.
So that 10,000 number serves as a very reasonable milestone and indication that this market is really starting to take off and gaining some momentum.
Okay. So in terms of the next wave of evolution and innovation in the data center, how's that going to evolve during 2016, 2017, and what's Source Photonics doing to meet the next wave of need?
Right. So the initial deployments have been primarily for infrastructure builds, connectivity between sites or core to aggregation type connectivity. Over the next 18 months, you're going to see very large ramp ups in inside data center deployments of 100 gig.
Okay.
That's step one, and that's going to continue to drive significant volume growth in the space. As a next step, we're already starting to see a lot of discussion about 400 gig.
Okay.
And there's a likelihood that you will start to see 400 gig systems and optical transceivers emerge for at least core applications by mid to late 2017.
So 400 gig in the data center, that sounds something pretty new. Are customers asking you to start developing products for that now? And what's driving that level of demand?
Yeah, we are already being asked to develop 400 gig products for release in the 2017 timeframe inside the data center. The data centers, the mega data centers, are seeing an explosion in the amount of data they're having to process for video, for big data, for analytics.
Right.
And with the advent of SDN and NFV, it's driving a huge increase in east-west traffic within a data center.
Okay.
So migrating from not just 10 to 40 and 100, but 100 to 400 is something we see happening much more quickly than we saw in previous migrations of speed inside the data center.
Okay. So passive optical networking, the access network, that's something that's seen a resurgence in the last 12 months. So what's driving the market there, and what is Source Photonics doing in this area?
Yeah, so Source has been involved in fiber to the home, the market, and transceiver development since about 2005.
Okay.
Initially for EPON networks that were going to China and Japan, then GPON networks that went into the US. Fiber to the home follows more of a telecom cycle, and so there's been a lot of discussion about upgrades of these networks over the last 3 to 4 years. Companies like Source develop products to support upgrades to 10 gig EPON and XGPON, but we didn't see the market take off. Well, finally in 2015, we did see some of the large operators, particularly in China, start to adopt 10 gig EPON as upgrades for their original EPON networks.
Okay.
And as we look forward, we see the MSOs in the US who are going to have to upgrade their cable networks in order to support more robust gigabit to the home offerings, also looking at 10 gig EPON. And then the operators who previously deployed GPON are starting to look at XGPON and XGS-PON, the next wave of the ITU standards, over the next 2 to 3 years. So there's been a healthy investment in the space over the last few years for development of products, and we're finally starting to see it be monetized into deployments.
So that's the fixed broadband market, but the wireless broadband market, 4G and the evolution to 5G, that's driving innovation in the SFP28 market as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. So the original SFP28s that were released primarily for the data center market and only had to operate in controlled environments, such as a data center. Okay. So the temperature spec range might have been 0 to 70 degrees. Well, once you try to roll out a product like that into the wireless network, you now are operating in outdoor environments at the top of cell towers. So you now need to operate from -40 to 85C. Now the reason the SFP28 is important in the wireless network is for the front haul application, the connection between the base station and the remote radio head. So currently in LTE networks, that's a 6 gig or 10 gigabit transmission between those two nodes. Well, as we go to 5G, there is a likelihood that it's going to have to migrate to 25 gigabit for that link. And moving from a commercial temperature range to an industrial temperature range has been a challenge for the industry in the past, whether it was at 1 gigabit, 10 gigabit, and now we will see the same challenges at 25 gigabit. So we are investing in both chip development and transceiver development to support that industrial temperature range. And actually at OFC this year, we're demonstrating an iTemp SFP28 prototype that will operate out to 20 kilometers.
Okay, excellent. So lots of great innovation going on inside the data center and in the broadband and wireless access network. So a lot to keep you busy in 2016 and beyond then.
Yeah, we don't expect a whole lot of sleep over the next year.
Okay,
so.
excellent. All right, Manish, thanks very much for talking to us today.
Appreciate your time.